All right, welcome everyone to Sunday service for September 14th. I just want to start off by saying and acknowledging it's been a very, very turbulent week for people, especially inside of people, trying to navigate feelings, to navigate like horrific things that people should not be seeing, should not have to be exposed to, but we are. And, you know, back when we had that wonderful time, 2020, we were told to social distance, you gotta stay away from people. And, some people enjoyed it at first because, gave you that time to sit, to, be with yourself, have that, introspective kind of time, because none of us do that enough, right? So you were forced. Basically, it was like the world giving a forced time out, right? Like that's just to do that for whatever reasons. But in my belief, a lot of it was however it was constructed, it was to give us all a forced time out, because that's when people started to realize what was important, what wasn't, what had they been feeding their time into that wasn't healthy or healthy, and got to sort of be able to have a quietening where they could see where their balances were. And as time went on, people started getting upset, and then social media took over, media took over, and it's led to what I call spiritual distancing. So it was like a very serious spiritual distancing. So many people aren't looking after their spiritual selves. They're just their spirit entity. You're just, okay, it's with me for the ride. And people are listening to social media, the neighbor down the street who maybe did some research, or, whoever, and, I'm not saying anything that's good or bad. It's just in basic, people were starting to take on from other people and ignoring their own spirit, their own beliefs, their own thoughts. And, these people that they started listening to, they didn't know how you love, how you think, how you cry, what you cry over, what pulls your heart. They don't know that stuff. But people are taking on these thoughts, these opinions, and feeling that this is how they're supposed to be feeling because other people are feeling, and they're not listening to themselves. They're listening to that supervisor at work who says awful things to them, awful things about, maybe about other people, just different people who in your life that they're listening to, that they're making the captain of your ship or of your spirit. They're making other people the captain of that. And, even like those friends who would say things and, oh, I'm just joking. But then it sat in you and you thought about it. And having differences of opinion, you thought about it, and then their anger started coming. And people were completely separated. They let it color their self-worth. It made them think things, horrible things about themselves. Like the things that people will say to themselves that they won't say to somebody else. I guess in light of the recent past, most people took that in and said it to themselves and didn't say it to other people. But now we have the ability to say whatever we want, whenever we want, to whoever we want, no matter how vile or how kind, that people feel the obligation to throw that out. And I always will remember back, I think it was just before we closed down in 2020, and we had a tea, and I was doing a reading, and in that reading there was a girl, and she was the person, my sitter, and Spirit brought a glass, and this glass, it was a clear, just like a little stubby glass, and they showed me pouring water into this glass. Well, this glass had holes in it. So the water just kept coming out. And this glass was continually dry. Even though it was a short little glass, it didn't matter how many pitchers of water you'd put into it, it would empty out. And Spirit said, you need to see you as that glass. You need to fix your holes. You need to figure out what you need to do to make yourself whole so that those holes are gone from that glass. And once you fix those holes, it doesn't matter how much water you pour into it, it will never overflow. That cup will just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And you will just fill up and be filled with that love, that compassion, just all the things that your spirit needs. And so, you know, the message was, you know, even like your bucket could be bone dry, right? And with the holes, you know, as much as you try, you're never going to get anywhere with it. So the only way to fix these holes, though, are to give love and accept love, and to learn lessons as they are presented. And once you fix your glass bucket and start filling it, your glass, you know, again, it's just going to get bigger. You'll always have enough. You will always be enough if you're looking after your spirit. And, you know, in order to do this, it could be things when you know you have maybe a neighbor, a friend, even somebody you don't really know very well. If they're in need, you know, if you know that they're maybe an elderly person that you know they have no mobility, their kids don't visit them, you know, maybe go by and say like, hey, can I help you with something? You know, bring them a meal, go get their mail. You know, a lot of them without that, they can't do that. They can't walk out, you know, to get their mail. You know, just things like that to help without any expectation in return. Just to be kind, to be giving, to be loving. And, you know, this will not only help them with the things they need, but it will help their spirit, knowing someone cares, someone's there, someone actually thought of me. And the profoundness of someone who's so alone and so lost in their world to realize someone cares, it's just, it'll just swell. And in turn, your spirit will do the same thing, you know, to know, because you will feel what you have given to that person, especially when you've done it without expectations. And you think, you may be that one who needs that help. This is when it's your turn to look after your spirit, look after yourself, be, you know, let go of that ego. Stop being, I don't need help. I don't need anybody, because you do, and everybody does. But ask for help and accept help. So many people say, hey, can I help you? You know, is there anything you need? No, I'm good. Even though you got a laundry list of stuff that you really could use help with. No, I'm good, I'm fine. And then you sit there thinking nobody cares, and you forget about that. And you're distancing, like you are releasing everybody to care about you. Because if someone says to you, can you help me with this? I know I will jump in and be there. If someone tells me they can help me, or, you know, or that I can help them, I will do it, like at my abilities. And I know myself, many times I sit thinking like, I wish I had help. You know, so I'm guilty too. But when people keep offering you help and you keep denying it, you're affecting their spirit, because you are essentially turning them away. And they are trying to extend love, and you're like, no, I'm good. Even though as minor as it is, but that's what that is. That communication, that just flowing together, moving together, connecting with spirit, no matter how little it is, People know that they're loved. You'll feel it. There's something, there's that connection. And, you know, others might not know that you're needing help. Others might think you've got it all together and, wow, I can't believe everything that they do, you know, and you're just like, whew, that's an amazing person. I'm going to be like that person there. But you know what? They're probably sitting. They could be crying because they're overwhelmed, but they know how to put on that face. They can mask what they've been missing and continually not honor their spirit. All right. And, you know, aren't you worth the treatment you give to others? Like, why wouldn't you be? You know, if, you know, your neighbor deserves it, or, you know, a loved one, or even maybe somebody you're not terribly fond of, if they deserve this treatment from you, this love, these offers, why are you not worth that? That's a question you need to ask yourself. Why are you not worth that? Why are you not worth that love, that connection, and that kindness? And, you know, you need to start telling people you love them. You know, let people tell you they love you. You know, it may be uncomfortable at first, but just let it. Let people tell you. And, you know, and tell people. And don't be embarrassed, don't be scared, you know, just when you extend that, it'll grow. It'll just grow. Because every little thing, as minute as it is, everything in this world starts with love. All right? There's the seeds, there's the love, and it's that connection. You know, every religion is based in love. You know, all of that is based in love, and people forget. They tear everything away, and they start adding all these other things and all these ways to separate each other and to distinguish each other. And they forget the base of everything is love. So, you know, you also need to learn, because of things, you don't need to accept words or treatment that does not serve your spirit. All right? Anybody can give you their 2 cents on any subject that comes. It is your decision whether or not you pick it up or walk right by. You do not have to explain to them what you've done or the reasons for doing so. That is yours. That is your spirit. That is where you need to keep that in you and know that you are doing this in love, so that is how it's going to be. And, you know, maybe have a bit of a reflection about the words that you're putting out there, the ideas you're putting out there, the thoughts. I was saying earlier, remember, every thought, word, and action. Take that responsibility and sit and think, are my actions spreading love? Are my thoughts spreading love? Because you are your thoughts. You are your actions. You are your words. So what are your words saying to people? And just take that personal responsibility, because this is for you and this is for everyone. And this is what will reunite people in the most basic parts of the world that are so incredibly, tragically broken. And just one person can start. Because when somebody has the courage to start, to show that love and to spread it out and that kindness, it will go like wildfire. And people will start questioning their own actions. Where are they sitting? What are they doing? And if they don't, that is not your job. That is theirs. That is their spirit. That is them. Has nothing to do with you. So don't, oh, I wish they would do this, or, you know, I wish I could make them believe this. No, that's their journey. That is their decision. And whatever their decision is, don't question it. Don't try to fix it. They will find out what they need to find out when they find out, or when they decide. right? So just worry about yourself. Nobody else. You're the most important person in your world. So treat yourself like that. All right. So there's my little soapbox today. For those of you online, thank you for joining us, and we will have service again online next week because I believe we'll be Reverend Jill. So have a great day.